goes all the way. He gained 6 positions, and Greg Biffle's 7.4. It got him a good spot. He's in second, but the most spots really on that 2-tire stop was gained by Truex.
And we mentioned that diverse crew. Let's take you behind the scenes with Martin Truex's gang.
Keith Copenhaugh, catch cam man, 39 years old.
Shannon Myers, rear tire changer, 36 years old.
Craig Carrion, front tire carrier, 40 years old.
Brian Chase, jackman, 34 years old.
I'm Corey Quick, the front tire changer. I'm 34 years old. Doug Newell, gas man, and I am 52 years old.
We've had other crews ask us if we need wheelchairs to get around.
You can't get away with a lot of stuff you used to when you're younger. I know that.
They make fun of our gray hair every once in a while, but you know, we can doctor that up just for men.
If you look at our plane after the race, there's quite a few ice bags, quite a few ibuprofen being thrown down. First day of practice, first time that all 7 guys had been together, we decided, let's just do rolling stops today, dive in, see what we get. After our very first pit stop, and I just smiled, and I said, this is going to be good.
First plug they hit, the first index, the first plug in with the gas, the first jack stop, it felt the chemistry was there.
The first time I stopped in the box and they got to going and they did their thing, they dropped the right side, I was like, wow, that was quick. It almost surprised me.
Nice job. Napa know-how.
One of the best compliments that these guys can have is every so often you turn around behind our pit stall on race day and you see coaches from other teams with stopwatches.
This crew doesn't have big egos. We don't have anybody that has to be the man, and when we have problems, you don't have a bunch of guys finger pointing.
One thing that younger generation lacks is experience. They've never changed rubbers. They've never had damage, car damage. They've never been put in situations, that high stressful situations that a veteran guy has.
Keep going, keep going. Day in and day out, we work out for 2 hours a day. We have a lot of pressure on us to stay in physical shape.
NASCAR is 36 to 39 weeks, so it's a long, strenuous pace over a long term. And I think if you don't take care of your body, I believe you're going to fail either at the track, things are going to show up, and your performance is going to lag.
4 tires of gas.
As a pit stop is starting to happen, we all know what each other's going to do before we do it.
Really great stop for those guys.
All I know is when I come into pits, behind 5 or 6 cars, I'm going to come out behind 2 or 3 of them. And that's the greatest feeling in the world.
So as the guys are looking at themselves, maybe we should name them, instead of the over-the-wall gang, the over-the-hill gang. And they're not over the hill, though, as they're making all of us old guys feel real good right now. Good job, guys. And keep up the good work. You've got your man in 7th position. Let's go let's go to the flip side of this equation. Let's dig deeper. Down in 15th spot, Jimmy Johnson. His last 3 finishes have all been 22nd or worse. And this is a guy that was dominating this race today.
Well, that's the thing that hits me. I mean, this is the guy halfway through the race. We were just wondering how much he was going to win by. And now he's sitting back there, you know, Dale, we've seen this, kind of a pattern of late with this team.
Yeah, and the thing that's made them so good over the last 4 years, better than everyone else, was their ability to adjust on their race car. And when they made changes, you know, they were still good. When they were running good, they would make a change and make them even better. Now it just seems like that they're right there on a razor's edge, and some of the changes that they've been making have actually hampered their progress and moved them back. So, you know, I don't know if it's what it's a product of, if it's just some new things that they're trying, and now the changes that they're used to making aren't working anymore, but it's certainly something that's showing up now.
Well, this is a 200-lap race. He's led 96 of them. He's clinched the 5 bonus points for that, but we've mentioned it before. He has failed to win 3 of the last 4 races where he led the most laps. So there's definitely a bit of a chink in the armor. I mean, this is not that dominant race team. And again, you pointed out, Andy, there are teams that would kill to have the results this team has had over this season.
Yeah,
but
they're running good. I mean, last week they practiced like a winning race car all the way up to the race started, and the very first of the race they looked pretty good, but then after that they really nowhere. Here they made some progress with that. They did dominate the first half of the race. They just are not making, and we're talking about little things here. It's so competitive, and he's caught himself back in traffic and got into a couple situations just by a little bit. You know, you just be off a half a tick, it can really cost you.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Andy, when you said it's so competitive. I think that's a lot to do with it, because just losing a spot here or there on the racetrack and then making adjustments on pit road puts you behind, and then all of a sudden you've got, you know, 10, 12 cars in front of you, and these cars react totally different.
As Rick Hendrick was quoted earlier in the week, everybody has caught up to us, and it's not you know, just a line there, as we are going to send it over to Alan Beswick down in the pit studio. Top of the hour, Alan, get us all reset and ready to go for this finish.
Marty, thank you. And for those just joining us, Sports Center coming up immediately following our coverage of NASCAR, including extensive post-race coverage from the NASCAR race here in Pocono. Carl Edwards, our in-race and post-race reporter for the remainder of our ESPN races this year, will join us in the pit studio to talk about what's been a wild day at Pocono. We'll have more with the race winner, the post-race interviews, and lots more. That's coming up on Sports Center right after the race. And inside the pit studio with Rusty Wallace and Brad Daugherty, a race that has been at times stretched out with Jimmy Johnson dominating, as you heard the guys in the booth just talking about. At times wild, a race that's had some frightening moments, and a race right now that nobody can be certain how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen at all. I mean, it's stopped raining right now, but I hear it's sprinkling again, so who knows what's going to happen. But one thing I've watched all day long, which I've been pretty impressed with, is the comeback of Hendrick Motorsports. The 48 car was dominant early. He's been fast all day long. Jeff Gordon looks like he's back. I mean, that car has been running strong throughout the day. And at times we saw Juan Pablo Montoya looking really, really strong. I guess probably for me, one of the most disappointing things I've seen today, though, is the problem that Jamie McMurray had. But now he's kind of got his laps back. But boy, it looked rugged for a while.
Yeah, for the longest point, Denny Hamlin, the guy who we all picked to dominate today, he kind of checked out, and I thought it was over with. I thought Denny was going to cruise throughout the rest of the day. Had a little incident where he and Tony Stewart got together, and he has not been able to rebound from that. And that's surprising because he is so good, as we all know, at this racetrack.
All right, well, if you have been out and about on a Sunday afternoon and joined us in recent times, why don't we take a look back at what's happened so far in a very eventful afternoon at Pocono to this point. This track is big, and it's going to take a couple minutes to run the jet dryers around there.
We're going to go racing, it looks like, so you got to get prepared, get ready to go.
The 21st race of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is green. Let's go 3 wide. Harvick's the meat in this sandwich. Look out. McMurray almost slides to the wall. Your race leader is Jimmy Johnson.
But here comes Jeff.
This is getting good right now.
Seven's still in line, peeking on you. Trying to get outside you now. Outside. Clear, clear.
Oh, look out. Trouble. Kurt's into the wall.
Like a little bump drafting going on right there.
Oh, man. Further back, Elliott Sadler. And look at the engine is out of this thing.
I'm okay. I'm a little sore. Definitely the hardest hit I've ever had in a race car. Just a tough day.
From that point, a round of pit strategy has shuffled the field. Sam Hornish Jr.'s team coming back from being laps down to the head of this field. Played some strategy to get out in front. Then it started raining. They parked the field on pit road, but now
we're going racing. I can't stand it. It's going to be great.
They're sending the jet dryers.
This is going to be great.
And the safety equipment back to their stations. The pace cars return to the front of the field, and we're about to see these cars rolled back out onto the Pocono Raceway for the concluding 23 laps. A couple of points here. Jeff Gordon, who was in command of the race when this round of pit strategy happened, is sitting back in the 11th spot for this restart. Tony Stewart, the first guy with 4 tires on the pit stop, is sitting in the 10th spot for the restart. And Gordon, through the number of laps the field ran behind the pace car while they were kind of trying to wait out the rain, has lost some time to get back to the front of the field.
Yes, he has. He's lost 7 laps from when the caution flag came up before. 30 laps is when all this stuff happened, 30 to go. Now it's 23 laps to go. But there's a lot of fire in his belly, I can tell you that right now. And I expect 4 wide down into turn 1 and maybe 5 wide off of turn 2.
Yeah, because of the double file restart and because of what we're anticipating happening on this start, that could all go away and give Jeff Gordon an opportunity to advance himself and put himself back in position to dominate again.
So the field going to gather up behind the pace car. When they come back to the start-finish line, they'll get the signal that in 1 more lap we'll go racing. That'll be with 22 to go, and they'll get the green flag with 21 laps to go in this race. Wow. Sam Hornish Jr. is the leader. He's chosen the outside lane for the restart. He did not pit on this most recent caution. He has older tires than the other drivers he's going to be running against. Greg Biffle in that 3M car, the 16 machine. He was the first off pit road with right side tires only. And you got to go a ways back to find Jeff Gordon in the 11th spot as the former dominant driver in this race. Now, some guys up front we haven't seen up front all day, like, Joey Logano, for example, and that guy, David Reagan in the 6, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm with his crew chief, Donnie Wingo, and you guys elected to take fuel only. That said, what do you expect on this restart? Old tires, you got some new tires behind you, 2 tires in front of you.
Yeah, we stopped the caution before. We only got 2 laps on the right side. You know, it was our best shot to get up front here at the end, and you never know what's going to happen at the end of one of these races. So with only about 20 laps to go, we'll just see what we got.